What is poppin' YouTube? Bringing you 10 players you should probably dump from your Dynasty rosters as we head into the summer months. I understand you all play in different size leagues with different size benches, so some of these guys are going to be a little bit deeper, but I think these guys have limited upside, and just because I think they should not be on your team doesn't mean that you have to instantly drop them. There is a chance that you could potentially trade and have them clog somebody else's roster. We just don't want them clogging on your roster. The first player we're going to be talking about is Cam Akers, who did not get re-signed to the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't even think that matters. The fact of the matter is Cam Akers has lost almost all explosion post Achilles tear, which is just so sad because we talked about Cam Akers when he was a rookie, became almost a top 5 running back in Dynasty all the way back in 2021, but heading into the 2024 season, I think it's pretty safe to say Cam Akers can find himself onto another team or onto the waiver wire. I don't foresee Cam Akers signing anywhere that's going to make him instantly get back into the top 40, 50 running backs on my Dynasty landscape right now. So I am going to be cutting bait with Cam Akers. I know it's not good to talk about some of these guys because some of you might be liking these guys as some stash opportunities, but Cam Akers just isn't that guy. My second guy is going to be Abanikanda, who was a very popular rookie draft pick by the New York Jets to be the backup to Breece Hall. We had him this last year versus Michael Carter in the backfield. Now what did the Jets do? They go out and they address it by adding Braylon Allen and adding Isaiah Davis to this backfield. Now there's going to be some people, like if you look on ESPN, you currently have Abanikanda as the third string running back ahead of Isaiah Davis. I don't think that's going to necessarily be the case as we head into the season. I actually think Isaiah Davis will be the clear running back 3 in this New York Jets backfield. So Izzy, I understand maybe if you have Breece Hall and you have Braylon Allen, maybe you just keep Abanikanda because you want the whole New York Jets backfield as a stack. For me, I'm cool to cut him. I'm cool to let him go. He's done pretty much nothing up into this point in his NFL career. Abanikanda, RIP. Good to see you. Next guy is going to be Samje Perine, and it was just only a few seasons ago where Samje Perine stepped in for Joe Mixon in a few games when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals back in 2022, 8.9 fantasy points per game. But this last whole season with the Denver Broncos, I did think he was going to be a sneaky snatch heading into redraft season, but only 53 rushing attempts for 238 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, 7.1 fantasy points per game was the RB44. Not only did Samje Perine kind of disappoint, but you also had the emergence of Jalen McLaughlin, which really was kind of the lightning to the Javonte Williams thunder. And so Samje Perine slid into that RB3 spot on the Denver Broncos. Now, this next year with Bo Nix being the starter, this offense I don't think is going to be very good. So, of course, there is always these opportunities for these guys like a Samje Perine to maybe have some week-to-week value, especially in deeper leagues. Just might be a spot start if you absolutely need it to. But for me, there's just guys in the same range with Samje that I would much rather prefer to take a shot on. So, if I have those guys in Samje and I need to make room for one of these rookies that I drafted, see a Samje. I think the days are outnumbered for you on my Dynasty roster. I'll catch you later here, Samje Perine. The next guy is going to be Jalen Tolbert, and everyone loves a good Jalen Tolbert story. Everyone knows the stories of Jalen Tolbert entering into the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone's saying, oh, he's going to be the wide receiver 2. No, he's going to be the wide receiver 3. Like, what's going to be happening with Jalen Tolbert? And Jalen Tolbert, in his rookie year, did pretty much just nothing. 17 games, 36 targets, 22 receptions, 3.5 fantasy points per game, was the wide receiver 111 on a points per game basis. I hate to break it to you. I know Michael Gallup is out of the Dallas Cowboys system. I just don't think Jalen Tolbert's good. I don't think I want to be investing any sort of resources into Jalen Tolbert in this offense, especially after they added Brandon Cooks. Jalen Tolbert, find your way to the waiver wire. I will go find some more high upside guys there that I can find. Next guy is going to be Sean Tucker. And Sean Tucker was a 7th round draft pick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this last season. And there was some excitement around Sean Tucker in this offense, mainly because of the profile that a lot of us in the Dynasty space had on Sean Tucker when we thought he could potentially be a day 2 type pick out of the University of Syracuse. Of course, falls into that day 3, end of day 3 in the 7th round category, which is never great for any type of running back. But really last year was only Rachaad White and Sean Tucker in the backfield. Now this year we do have Rachaad White, Bucky Irving, Chase Edmonds, and Sean Tucker. I mean, Sean Tucker is the clear 4. There's a chance that Sean Tucker doesn't even make it out of the NFL preseason this season. So for me, it's time to cut bait. Whatever you can get, see a Sean Tucker, catch you on the waiver wire. I'm going to go look at other options. Next guy is going to be Zach Evans. Zach Evans actually was another Dynasty Dynasty darling coming out of Ole Miss that we were super excited about, but of course lands on the Rams. And last year when Kyren Williams got hurt, we were like, hey, it's Zach Evans time. It's time for him to come in and show out. And Zach Evans didn't. He had a bunch of team issues, almost was off the team for a little bit. I don't like where this is going. They draft Blake Corum in the NFL draft this year in the 3rd round. So we're all of a sudden looking at Zach Evans just kind of being pushed down the roster for a Rams team. And I know the running back position, you're like, hey, like it only takes a few injuries for these guys to be relevant. Zach Evans, catch up. Bye. I will find you on the waiver wire elsewhere. Next guy is going to be Rico Dowdle. And there was a minute there where Rico Dowdle really had some real type of dynasty fantasy football value, just purely based on the fact that we did not know who the starter was going to be there. Really, Rico Dowdle was the only running back besides him and Deuce Vaughn. They bring in Zeke Elliott. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up going and adding another free agent type running back, someone like a Lenny Fournette, just to kind of add in some more depth, because I don't think Rico Dowdle's it. Now, I have liked Rico Dowdle as a stash before, so I understand I'm kind of flipping my stance here on Rico Dowdle. I just don't know where the ultimate level upside is, how they're going to be able to actually interact with Rico Dowdle. Of course, Zeke is getting older, but he has been kind of a man of durability. He's been the Cal Ripken Jr. of the NFL. Now, it's not great on a fantasy points per game basis by any stretch of the imagination. My next guy that I think you can say sayonara to is going to be Brenden Rice. Brenden Rice lands on the Chargers, and I did a show about 2 months ago where someone in this space said Brenden Rice was their wide receiver 6 in their Dynasty rookie wide receiver rankings. Trust me, I thought that was crazy. I said it was crazy. The argument was that it was Jerry Rice's son. Okay, cool. Shout out to Brenden Rice. You had a really cool dad. But that does not make you a good NFL wide receiver just because your dad was maybe the greatest wide receiver of all time. Brenden Rice is not that guy. And I know he lands on a Chargers team that's absolutely desolate for wide receiver help, but trust me, I'm not going to be investing. I'm not going to be stashing a guy like Brenden Rice when I could probably stash a more high upside RB. I can trade Brenden Rice onto someone else's roster because I don't think Brenden Rice is actually ever going to achieve anything of significance on my Dynasty roster, so he's just going to be clogging up a spot. I'd rather have flexibility elsewhere. My next guy is going to be Greg Dortch, and Greg Dortch has had glimpses. He's had almost waiver wire hopes and dreams with this Cardinals offense, with these receivers being injured so consistently, and Greg Dortch has had a nice connection with Kyler Murray. But we do have to remember, we add in Marvin Harrison Jr., you still got Michael Wilson, and they add in Zay Jones into this offense, just furthermore pushing Greg Dortch down the line. Now, we have seen Greg Dortch be able to be very effective when he comes in off of others' injuries. So I understand if you're going to debate me on Greg Dortch, I definitely hear you. But just some guy that I'm saying, hey, get him off my roster, think he's hogging a spot, can go somewhere else. And my final guy that I'll be bringing to you today is going to be Cedric Tillman. And Cedric Tillman, drafted out of the University of Tennessee to the Cleveland Browns, who really, when they drafted him, they needed someone across from Amari Cooper to really step up. They traded for Elijah Moore, they drafted Cedric Tillman, and then pretty much from here, we see this year, they go out and get Jerry Jeudy. They have not been happy with that wide receiver 2 spot. And we have David Njoku, who continues to step up. So for me, I'm looking at Cedric Tillman clearly as like the wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 on this team. I would rather go in another direction. I don't think the upside's ever going to really be there for Cedric Tillman, so he can say sayonara, I'll go see ya on another roster. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in this video. I know it wasn't necessarily a hard-hitting analysis. I just wanted to bring you some players that you can be cutting off your Dynasty rosters. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.